Alright, in this video we're going to be going over how to set up an AI replier on GoHighLevel to anyone that messages you. In this video we're going to be using the SMS channel, but whatever channel you're setting up, this still will apply to you, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, email, WhatsApp. So the stack we're going to need for this build is going to be GoHighLevel. If you've ever used the internal GoHighLevel AI agents they have, they're super limited and they white label the cost per message generated. So instead we're going to be using make.com, and that will allow us to get the cheapest cost per message generated on the market. Now if you've seen any of my other videos, we usually use the assistance node on OpenAI, but as you may know, OpenAI is actually getting rid of the assistance API. It's going to be deprecated. In this video, we're going to be going over how to set up response API. So ultimately what I'm getting at is the video you're going to be watching today is going to be future proof. You're not going to have to worry about changing times affecting the setup of this build. So one thing off the bat is this build we're going to be going over, it's designed for your initial outreach, whether that be cold outreach or just the initial touch point with the lead. We're going to hard code that first message. It's important you hard code that first one, honestly, just so you get a good gauge of replies. There's no point on having that first message be AI driven, waste tokens on spend. And also we want this hard coded so it's the same message each time, so we're able to track reply rate to see if we need to tweak our initial message. Anyway, so within our pipeline, we're going to have the cold lead that gets imported, assuming you pull in this contact from somewhere. Then we're going to have the AI reaching out, sending that first message off. Well, technically, we call it AI here, but it's actually going to be that initial SMS message. And I've set up multiple phases of follow-ups for us as well. And then once the lead replies to us, it'll be updated to lead replied, AI engaging, and the AI will have a conversation with the lead. If the lead is qualified, they'll be updated to call proposed. If they make it far enough in the conversation flow where the lead books in, they'll be updated to appointment booked. And if the lead at any point expresses that they're not interested or tells us to screw off, they'll be updated to not interested. And then lastly, we'll have no response after follow-ups off of those initial hard-coded messages. So this build is going to be structured into 5 parts. We're going to go through literally everything from A to Z. I also want to note I'm going to be having this entire snapshot of the build and the make scenario, everything you need. I'll put the link down into the description below. If you want to join the AI Scale Agents Mafia, we have the full loadout of all the different automations we use, and we do live weekly calls. So if you're looking for your network of fellow 6-figure AI entrepreneurs and AI automation experts, then this is for you. But for real, if you're looking for a network of AI entrepreneurs and you haven't found one yet and you want to bounce ideas off one another and discuss what's working, what's not, literally everyone that's ever joined this community and actively shows up to our weekly calls has been killing it in the game right now. Anyway, so first things first, what you're going to do is we need to set up your pipeline. So what you're going to do, guys, is you're going to go to pipelines, you're going to click create pipeline, and then you're going to type in these stages. So the stages you see here, cold lead imported, you're going to write this out, AI reached out, lead replied, AI engaged, qualified call proposed, appointment booked, not interested, and no response after follow-ups. Then you're going to save that and you should be good to go. At that point, if you click back over to your opportunity section and tab down, you should see our pipeline. That's all we need to do there. Then I want you to go to settings. We're going to go to custom fields. There's going to be a few custom fields we have to make real quick. So what we're going to do is click add field, click multi-line, and we're going to name this first one GPT Assistant Response Message. And then you can select it to a group if you have an organized group. If not, it doesn't matter. You're going to save that. I've already have mine, so I'm not going to save. Next, we're going to click add field again. You're going to click multi-line again. And then we're going to type in AI context here. And so the way we're going to set up the build today, the AI is going to score the lead based on how hot they are. We're going to add that to our notes section. So AI context, we'll save that. And then lastly, what we'll do is another multi-line, and we'll do AI conversation history. So you're going to type that one, you're going to save that, and that's all the custom fields we need. We only need 3 for this build. We've got the pipeline set up. And then also one last thing, of course, make sure you have your calendar ready because we're going to need to do a calendar trigger, of course. But yeah, we're ready to go now. So first things first, within part 1, we're going to set up the trigger. So assuming you're importing leads. So if you've never imported leads before, we're not going to go through that in this video because it's dumb easy. But on the contacts page, you just click import, and there's going to be a point throughout your import where you can add a tag to the lead. And this tag is going to be so important for the entire build because it's essentially the passkey that allows the lead to pass to and fro throughout the different automation sections we have. So I named this one YouTube SMS AI. Name it literally whatever you want. It's just that this tag has to remain consistent throughout the build. And so assuming you import your contact, it'll trigger this tag added automation, and the first thing we'll do from there is update our pipeline stage YouTube demo AI cold lead booked, and we did this through the create or update opportunity node, Then we found our pipeline, found the specific stage, that first stage, good to go. Now this next node, we're literally just passing it to part 2, YouTube demo. So we're actually going to go to part 2 real quick. I'll show you around, and then what you guys are going to have to do if you're building this live is double back on part 2, and don't worry, I'll make sure we hit that. So over on part 2 now, this is where the initial message is going to be sent out. So you don't have to do an import trigger. What you could also do is if you have a Facebook lead form, instead of them going through part 1, they could just go immediately through here, and you could just add, your Facebook lead form submitted, and it'll immediately greenlight them. Now guys, if you're doing the SMS channel, remember you can't technically do like straight cold outbound, so you can't go web scrape a bunch of numbers and then think you can text them and you'll be all right. The SMS channel is really meant for inbound leads, so it can still come from cold traffic, yes, but they have to opt in and consent and give you the information for us to do these marketing efforts. Anyway, so once the new lead comes in, they'll be updated to AI reached out, and we'll send our very first initial message to them that's hard-coded. And at this point, we're going to add the YouTube SMS AI tag. The reason we have it tagged here as well is because let's say you do a Facebook lead form and they haven't come through part 1. That means they don't have this tag yet. It wasn't imported. So we want to make sure that tag is set here. After that, what we've done is set up a wait stage. We did the drop down and clicked to contact reply under this wait stage, and we're waiting for a reply to SMS 1. And now if we don't get a reply to SMS 1, we'll time out, and 1,433 minutes later, which is like 23 hours, the next day, we'll send our next follow-up. Now the reason I do an obscure time interval is so it's never perfect. So like say if we text them at 1:05 today, we don't want to text them at 1:05 again tomorrow. It's very obvious. This way it kind of masks it from being an automation for the follow-up. Now if the lead does reply to us, we pull them out of this flow and immediately update the pipeline to, okay, lead replied, AI is now engaging. But assuming they haven't replied to us, then our follow-up message, and then just like before, an additional contact reply, scanning for a reply to that follow-up message. If they do reply to this, we're updating to lead replied engaged. If not, next follow-up, and then we just continue to go on. And you can edit these minutes, like you could have it to where 23 hours out, maybe 5 days out, and maybe a couple weeks out as far as the setup for that. If a lead does reply again, once more, lead replied. If not, we're pushing them through. Now, the very, very last stage, so we have 3 follow-ups now. So at some point, we have to retire this lead, right? So we'll do a 7-day wait stage to see if the lead replies to that last follow-up. If they do, cool, we'll pull them out. If they don't, then we're updating the lead to no response after follow-ups. So we've gone through, ideally, about 2 weeks of follow-ups with this lead. They never hit us back. All right, it's time to retire them, and that's where they'll go into that like trash can stage of the pipeline, the very last stage in the pipeline. All right, so you've got part 2 set up. So quickly, like I said, I'm just going to double back on step 1 for us real quick. We're going to go to add workflow. Make sure to add that part 2 to your add to workflow, so the lead will immediately be pitched from import over there. Now, we're going to go over to part 3, guys. So on part 3, this is where we're catching that reply from the lead. So we're saying reply channel is SMS. In which case, and honestly, something that I forgot to do, let's go ahead and do that now, is we need to add that passkey literally at every step. Okay, cool. So we've added that YouTube tag. So we'll save this trigger. And now if a lead replies and they indeed have that YouTube tag, we're going to submit this custom webhook over to make.com. So we'll get to make here in a sec, but first things first, make sure the event's custom, the method is post, and then we're going to go pull that URL right now. So over on Make, we're going to sign into your account. You're going to create a custom webhook node, and I'll click through and show you exactly what these look like. But you literally just type in webhook and then custom webhook, and then what it's going to do is it's going to have you create a new webhook. If you don't already have one, you literally just click Add. It'll build it out for you, and we have our webhook here now. So you're going to copy this, and then we're going to pull that webhook over back into GoHighLevel under the URL section. Just paste that there. We're going to keep authorization the same. Now, this raw body is going to pitch all the significant information that we need, all the significant information over to our AI, so it knows the full scope of the details of what we got going, right? So what we're doing is submitting contact ID, and that will allow us to differentiate the contact, name and phone number of contact, location ID, message body, and then contact. So guys, assuming you set up the custom fields with the AI conversation history and all that exactly as we did, you can write this in verbatim. And make sure the content type is application JSON. I forgot if I mentioned that already. But again, guys, if you do want the exact snapshot so you don't have to waste time typing everything, it's in our community. Link down below to get the entire snapshot, not only of this, but literally all of the AI templates I've ever done. One thing we have to do is we have to pull that location ID real quick, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Settings, Business Profile, And within your business profile, your location ID should be right here. Okay, so once you've copied that location ID, we'll go back over to our section for repliers and automation flows. All right, cool. So back in part 3, that's literally where the location ID goes right here. And then from here, we can click Save Action. And now this will successfully pitch off the information over to make.com. Now we're going to move back over to make and set up the rest of the make side of things. So the next thing we're going to do is open up a GoHighLevel node, and it's going to be a get contact node. So you literally just type in GoHighLevel, and we'll scroll down and we'll find get a contact. And then once you've gotten your contact, what the information we're going to put in here is going to be contact ID. Now guys, at this point, something I forgot to mention, if you haven't populated any data in here just yet with your webhook, then nothing may come up. It should look like this. So let's actually go ahead and send some information over from GoHighLevel over to make so that we can play with that data, and it's going to make everything a lot more straightforward. So make sure your make scenario is turned on, and then you're going to click run once, and then back over on GHL, literally just grab a contact, and we're going to go ahead and throw them through our system and indoctrinate them into our initial SMS part 2 flow, or you could import the contact. All right, so I've just pushed my contact through. So I've just got that initial message, literally just says initial message. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to reply to it. Before I do, I want you guys to understand this logic, especially if you're new to building these automations. It's important to understand the logic of things. So check it out. At this point, my contact is now waiting in limbo stage for the next day until I reply back, unless I reply back. So I'm going to reply back now, and it's going to pull me out of part 2 into part 3, and it's going to shoot off that webhook. And remember, our make scenario is listening. Here, I'm going to even make sure it's still listening. So I'm going to be like, hey, what's up? Okay, so I've just texted a reply. So now we're going to wait over here. As you can see, reply got generated. I've already got some substance in here, so it's already going ahead and doing the next stage and updating our contact info. And so I should receive a text back here. But let's get back to the state of this build currently. So over on GoHighLevel now, you'll notice that contact ID before was whited out. It's now red. So especially when you do an import, if you get one of my automations, it'll be whited out at first until you load some data. So at this point, the info we pulled in is contact ID, name, email, phone number, everything from that JSON file. So we just need to add contact ID here for get contact. We're good to go. And then we're going to go over and create an OpenAI node, and we're going to do an API call, make an API call. So that's going to be the main differentiator. Before, guys, we were doing a lot of message assistance, but now we're doing a make an API call as our route to actually pull the information in. So over on your API call, what you're going to need to do is first off, connect your OpenAI account. So we need to go to platform.openai if you haven't already. You need to make an account, and then what you're going to do is go over to API keys. You're going to click create new secret key, type in the name of your secret key, click create, and it's going to give you a string of text. Now, when you're clicking add and setting this up, just add that secret key here. Nope, you don't have to do anything with organization ID, just secret key here. Save that, and it will allow you to tap into OpenAI. And from there, this URL /v1/responses is what taps into Response API. And that's what OpenAI is wanting us to use. The method we're going to use is post, and then we're going to open up a header 1, and you're going to type this exactly, content-type, and the value we're going to do application/JSON. Now, this next part gets a little bit tricky, so I'm going to explain things clearly and hopefully it'll make more sense. But this is the body that we're feeding to AI to generate the response. So there's something called creating a knowledge base, and that's essentially the instruction manual for an AI brain to function. If you're new to this page, creating knowledge bases can be a bit of an art form. Ultimately, what I'm getting at, though, is all a knowledge base is the instruction manual to tell our AI exactly what to do, exactly how to reply, exactly who to represent. So the first thing we're doing is calling the model at hand. In this case, we're going to do GPT-5, of course, because that's one of the smartest ones out. And then instructions, anything after instructions. So everything I'm about to highlight is related to our knowledge base, all the way down until we get to here. So you'll notice throughout this also, I've taught this knowledge base specifically how to do lead scoring and all that good stuff. Any place where you see slashes or ends in the eyes of the JSON file, it's just breaking up with like spaces basically so the AI can digest it faster. But let's say you have a business model, let's say you're a fitness coach, and you need to qualify your leads with these 3 qualification questions before we can promote them to a sales call. And then once we do, here's the booking link. Add the booking link here, send that to a lead, like any information about how you need to have that conversation with a lead. Essentially, imagine you're replacing yourself with an AI. You need to tell it everything that you would have done in that conversation. And then after that, we have this string where we're doing the inputs of what we're going to be feeding, which in this case is going to be the role of the AI, the lead's name, email, company if applicable, source if applicable, tags if applicable. And then we have the conversation history, and we have the new message from the lead, so that message that just came through from part 3. So anyways, that's going to generate the response. And then the last thing we're going to do is open a new GoHighLevel node, this time update contact. Essentially, with all the details that AI just generated us, we now want to apply that to our GoHighLevel account. So we're going to do contact ID, and then it's going to be from the webhook one, and it's going to be from the webhook scenario contact ID, and then you're going to scroll down, and there's going to be a few different fields we're going to be populating. So the first thing is going to be our AI conversation history. Now, essentially, this is going to be a bit of like an equation. So we're saying the AI conversation history in total, so we're going to have that at the top. So because this is the first instance, it's going to be blank. But AI conversation history, the brand new message that the lead has just sent us, and then we're going to add the AI's response here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go under our OpenAI node, under body, and then go to output, then content, and see text right here saying, hey Scott, thanks for reaching out. This is our message, guys. So we're going to add text there. So what's happening now? So it's going to essentially over time build us a script, which is super cool. So it's going to say lead AI, and then next time it comes through here, this lead and this AI is going to be saved within that top conversation history. So it's going to continuously load our new messages. And so each time we're feeding this back to AI, we're feeding the entire message conversation history and then moving forward. Okay, continue to scroll down. The next custom field we need to find is going to be our GPT assistant response message. So we're going to include that same text again. It's just important we have this in different places because on the next section of automations on GoHighLevel, this will make sense. But we're adding that text there as well, just the message from the AI. And then this is the last place. And then actually for AI context, there's one thing we need to do over on GoHighLevel. And then over here on AI context, we're also just going to throw that text in there as well. So this AI context, I'll show you guys in a minute how you can manipulate this. This build's going to be pretty straightforward. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but that's everything we're loading in there to essentially send the message to the contact, right? So now when we go back into our automation section, I want you guys to create a part 4 now. And the part 4 will read like this. So at the top, we're going to do contact has changed. And we're scanning for that GPT assistant response message, and we're scanning to see if it has changed. If you recall on OpenAI, we're updating that GPT assistant response message custom field with the new text each time. So each time a new text comes through, it'll trigger this. And then next we have an if-else statement that we opened up, literally just in GHL, type in if and it will come up, if-else. And then this is going to be our passkey checker real quick. We're just making sure that the tag indeed includes our passkey to let the lead through. Otherwise, they shouldn't be there. We're not going to have a conversation with them through this workflow. And again, this will help make things less messy if you do have a ton of other automations. So we're going to scan for a few things in the substance of GPT assistant response messages messaged to us. The first thing we're going to scan for is to see if it contains our booking link at all. So you need to make sure within your knowledge base over on OpenAI that at this section, you're feeding it the booking link, that at some point throughout here, it has the exact URL link that we're sending, because we're going to be scanning for that. And basically what this means is if the booking link gets dropped, they're going to fall into the call propose section. Of course, we're going to send them the message, and then we're going to update our opportunity section to specify, hey, this lead is qualified, the call has indeed been proposed, we've sent them the link, right? And then on SMS, you literally just have the SMS node. And then in order to set this custom value up, you go to contact, scroll down to custom fields, and then go to your GPT assistant response message. And this is a dynamic field. So whatever it's loaded with from make.com, it'll update each time. And all of these nodes are the same, GPT assistant response, right? And then the last thing we're doing with that AI context that I told you about, we're updating that to the notes. So essentially we have like full context of everything that the AI has said. That's the idea with that. Now, if a lead is not interested, what this means is they tell us in some way, shape, or form, hey, I'm not interested, hey, screw off, this isn't for me, blah, blah, blah. What I want you guys to do, going back to your knowledge base, again, this is a system instruction manual. I want you to add something to where we're saying, hey, if the lead is not interested and they express explicit disinterest, this is a disqualified lead. Reply back like the word halt, the string of text halt. Don't say anything else. Don't continue the conversation. Just say the word halt in your reply to me. And then what we're going to do in the back end is make.com is going to update the GPT assistant response message with the string of text halt. So we're going to scan for that. If halt exists, we know this is a scenario of a lead that's not interested. And honestly, this should not be included now that I'm thinking about it. Delete that, because we don't want to send a halt text to a lead. It's an internal thing. So okay, cool, lead's not interested. What we'll do is update the pipeline to pipeline stage lead not interested, update the notes. That's that lead has been retired, right? And then last but very much not least is normal reply. Essentially, as long as the booking link isn't sent and halt isn't specified, this is a normal reply. Shoot them our typical text, update the context, bada bing, bada boom. This is good to be saved, guys. So cool. At this point, we are good to go. The very last thing that we haven't gone over to make sure the pipeline is fully automated is going to be when the appointment is booked. So quickly, just to show, this is a stupid easy workflow, but if the customer books appointment on your specified calendar, we're updating our AI cold booker to appointment booked. So at this point, we've fully synced up literally every single stage of this pipeline to be automated, so you don't have to do anything, and you just let this run. So we're going to run a quick test real quick just to make sure everything is working properly, specifically with the conversation flow. So what I'm going to do now is say, hey, what's up? Again, I'm interested. So I've just sent a text off. So we should see it come through here on make.com. It's going to find my contact, going to generate that response, pitch it back to GHL, and text me. Generating the response to us now. And again, guys, make sure that you have your passkey set so that it catches your reply. All right, it's updated the contact. All right, perfect. And I just received the message back. Now, granted, what I recommend at this point is you do a ton of testing on the actual conversation flow itself. So as you can see, if we check over here within the execution logs on part 4, we made it through, got that text sent. And actually, if I click open myself, we can see the messages as well. So check it out. So this no problem at all. So this came from our AI. So at this point, we have a fully autonomous setup. So if you continue to text back and forth with the AI, eventually you want to get it to the point where it's proposing the call and updating your pipeline. And then once the lead books in, it will automatically update the pipeline as well. So it's really cool because if you're setting this up for one of your clients, you can really impress them just with the fact that this is an entirely autonomous pipeline. So right now, I'm an AI engaged. So once the booking link gets dropped, it'll update a call proposed. Once I book in, it'll update here. If I tell it to screw off or something, it should update a not interested and halt. Or, because this is meant to be oriented around high volume leads, if you import your cold list or you're just reaching out to a ton of people that inquired from one of your Facebook lead forms or something, we're going to have tons of follow-ups with that initial outreach. So I've showed you today how to hard code those follow-ups, and if a lead never replies to them, they'll be retired to no response after follow-ups. Now, guys, this is a very straightforward build I set up, but if you want access to my full slew of automations and how I personally set up killer AI appointment setters, the same builds that I use for my own service delivery for my clients, again, I'm going to leave the link down below where you can get access to my full stack of automations, and honestly, more importantly, you're going to get access to the entire community of fellow AI entrepreneurs that are currently killing it right now. Again, your network is your net worth, so if you're ever looking to sync up with some fellow entrepreneurs and you actually want an inner circle, an AI mafia of guys that are killing it right now, then this is the place for you. I encourage you to check out that video. It explains things a little further. On that note, hope you guys found this video valuable. Best of luck with setting up your automations. Leave a comment if you have any questions. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next video.